Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. It is Monday, so it means I'll be reading your ghost stories while I'm doing my makeup. If this is your first time here on a Monday, if you're a new subscriber, every Monday I do exactly what I just said. I do my makeup and I tell your ghost stories. This is very much based on Bailey Saren's Murder, Mystery and Makeup Monday, where she mixes two things that she loves, true crime and makeup, and puts them into a video. So I'm doing the same with horror and makeup. So I hope you guys like it. Go and check out her channel if you haven't already. You're gonna absolutely fall in love with her. So I asked you guys on Twitter because my brain just isn't working with imagination. So I asked you guys on Twitter what kind of ghost I should be this week, because we change it up every time. I die, every Monday, and we create a look from what kind of ghost I am. It was recommended today. So here's my backstory to the recommendation. I was at the lake with my friends, and I fell asleep in the car. Why would I be in the car? Oh, it was like one of those lakes where everyone pulls up and they're like, oh, let's make out. And so I fell asleep in the car and the people I was with just left. Anyway. And then my car just rolled right into a lake. No one ever found me. I'm still there. It's been a while. I've grown green with mold, moss, decay. So that's me today. Okay, let's do this. Can I just say a massive thank you for all your emails. I currently have over 3,000 ghost stories. 3,800. If you've sent me your ghost story, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna get to it, I promise. There's just a lot to get through, so yeah. Your time has come in. So I've already done my skin and brows and eyes just to make this process a little bit quicker, and so I can give you more. I know it sounds weird, but the more makeup I do, the longer this video takes and the less time I want to spend filming it, because I can sit here for 2 hours and just have my eyes done. It's very difficult reading and doing makeup, and I can blend my eye makeup without looking, but when it comes to the skin, I don't know what my situation is. So our first story today. Ooh. So this is called My Imaginary Friend Letitia. Hi Robert, my name is Virginia and I live in San Diego, California. Oh, I didn't know that was in California. I'm originally from Bakersfield, California, which is a small farming city. This story is 100% true. The day I was born, my great-grandmother told my parents that I was born with special gifts. She used to heal people, make holistic medicine, and take off curses. Oh, I wish I was one of them. As a baby, my parents would say that I used to react as if someone was interacting with me, but yet no one was there. The older I got, the more weird shit will happen. I'm going to tell you one story about me. But I do want to warn you, this may scare the shit out of you, because not only is the story scary, plus every time I tell my story about my imaginary friend, I scared some people enough that they don't like to be alone with me. P.S. I'm not crazy. I believe you. Anywho, I'm 6 years old, obviously back then. It's summer break and I was playing alone in our backyard. We used to have a sandbox that my dad built for my older brother, me and my baby sister. I was playing with my Barbies as if they were on a beach. Then I heard a small voice behind me asking, "Can I play?" I turned around and saw a little girl. I asked her, "Where did you come from?" She pointed to my neighbour's house, whom were actually new to the neighbourhood. I invited her to play, but when she did play with me, she wouldn't touch any of my toys. It seemed like she enjoyed watching me play instead. My mum calls me to come in for dinner. I tell the little girl that I needed to go. Before I leave, I ask her for her name. She tells me her name is Letitia. I hope I'm saying it right. I tell her my name and I invited her to come back and play with me the very next day. She agrees. For days, Letitia would come and play with me. Still, she wouldn't touch my toys, even when I'd given her permission. Instead, she would tell me what I should do with my toys. Nothing creepy, but like have a Barbie for a beach party or make Ken take Barbie out on a date. One day, my mum asked me, "Who are you talking to?" I told her that I was playing with Letitia. She asked me, "Where did she come from?" I told my mum that she's our new neighbour. My mum just figured it was my imaginary friend. A couple of weeks go by and Letitia comes over every day to play. Still, no one can see her but me. Sometimes she'll come inside to play, but only with my mum's permission. Finally, my little sister's 3rd birthday comes up. I asked my mum if Letitia could come to the party. My mum approves. I tell Letitia, and Letitia was excited about the invite. The party went well. Lots of games, sweets and playing, but Letitia would always sit out. I figured she was just shy. When it came to breaking the piñata, I thought that would convince her, but no. She would run and grab the candy, but would never pick any up. She was just happy running with us. The party was over, and I say bye to Letitia, and she told me it was the most fun she ever had. A week goes by. I'm still playing with Letitia. My dad develops the birthday film. I just got chills. Before our bedtime, my parents start going through the photos and then notice something strange. One photo stood out to the rest. My mother asked my dad, "Who's that?" My dad looks and says he doesn't know, and the photo must have not been processed well. I go to see the photo that they were talking about. I tell my parents with excitement, "That's Letitia. I've just seen the picture." My mum looks pale, and my father starts talking to my mum in Spanish. My dad asks me, "The same Letitia that you play with?" I said happily, "Yep, she's my best friend." My mother sits me down and then tells me that I can't play with Letitia anymore. I ask her why, and she says, "Because Letitia needs to go to the light." I ask her, what does she mean? And she breaks it down for me in a gentle way to tell a child that this is a spirit who is no longer living. The next day, I see Letitia waiting for me in the backyard. My mum standing behind me as I walk to Letitia. I start to cry. I begin telling Letitia that I can't play with her anymore, and that she needed to go to the light and to be with good people. Letitia looked sad and said, "Okay, I'll miss you." I told her I will miss her too. When I blinked, she was gone. Now 38 years old, and to this day I never saw Letitia again. I honestly didn't think she was bad, although her photo describes differently. All I know is she has never asked me to do bad things, nor did anything scary. She just seemed like a lonely child who wanted to play. So this is a picture she sent with me. Get ready to absolutely piss yourself. Description of a photo. My little sister was crying and my mum was cradling her. Oh, I can't look at that. My parents nor family could recall who this kid was. Only me. My brother was standing next to me, not shown in the photo. He has spiky hair. My father said there was no one standing between my mother and himself. Don't zoom in on her eyes. That seems to freak people out the most. I'm going to zoom in on her eyes. I'm going to put it right here. I'll give you a warning in 3, 2, 1. It's here. It's right here. I'm going to take it down now. Okay. That is terrifying. That picture literally just made my blood run cold. That is so scary. Okay, I need some more imaginary friend stories. That was absolutely incredible. Thank you for that story. Okay, let's move on to our next story. This is called "I Always See My Dead Uncle Who Is Actually My Dad." Okay, so it says, "Hello Robert, my name is Madison and I love your videos and love watching your videos. Thank you. I've been following you and Bailey Sarian for a while now, but when you start your ghost stories and Makeup Mondays, I knew I had to tell you mine. As you can tell from my title, my uncle passed away before I was born. My dad was the older brother and my uncle was a few years younger. Everyone always says I'm just like my uncle. He was super smart, very creative, always followed the rules, and was very responsible. One night my uncle skipped band practice, which was odd because he never had before. He went to a party with some friends and they were drinking. My uncle was dared to ride in the back of the bed of his friend's truck. The friend, not knowing my uncle was still standing, tried to brake check my uncle. My uncle fell backwards, hitting his head on the cement parking block. He instantly passed out. His brain swelled and he was pronounced dead at the hospital with a brain bleed. Again, he passed before I could ever meet him. But that didn't stop him from meeting me. My mum told me the story that before I was born, she had a dream of being pregnant, even though the doctors told my mum she had less than a 5% chance of getting pregnant because of certain medical problems. The same night, she dreamt of my uncle handing her a baby wrapped in a blanket. The next day, she found out she was pregnant with me. Oh, what have I done there? Oh, crap. This is what happens when you do your eye makeup without looking. Fast forward a few months, my mum decided not to reveal my gender and to let it be a surprise. One night, she had another dream. It was the exact same dream she had before. My uncle gave her a baby wrapped in a blanket, but there was one difference. The blanket was now pink. She called the doctors the next day to find out she was having a girl. Me. Not me, the girl telling the story. My mum found it to be a sign and even made my middle name my uncle's name. My mum began to tell me that when I was little, she would always catch me doing weird things. When I was a baby, I would laugh and stare at the corner of a room. Haunted children. But no one would be there. As I got older, she would hear me talking to someone else. But when she would walk in the room, no one would be there. She even said before I even knew about my uncle, I would write his name on my school papers. Now when she looks back, she believes it was my uncle. I will never forget the first encounter I had with my uncle. I was sleeping over a friend's house. During the night, I woke up to a sort of haze. I had sleep paralysis before, but what I was experiencing didn't feel like that. It felt as if I had taken my dream to the real world. I felt asleep, but I knew I was awake. In seconds, I realized someone was sitting at the edge of the couch. A man. He had blonde hair, glasses, and a blue shirt on. Again, I knew about my uncle at this point, but I had never seen a picture of him. I didn't panic. Most people would have shit their pants. I would have. Or screamed. But he made me feel calm. I eventually went back to sleep and didn't see him again that night. Fast forward a year later, I had an extreme panic attack. And with me having severe asthma, I stopped breathing. I don't remember much besides waking up to many men hovering over me with my shirt split open, giving me compressions. I was super out of it, but when I looked up past the perimeters, I saw the same man wearing the blue shirt and glasses looking over me. This time he nodded at me like he was saying no and left the room. I told my mum about those two particular events a few days later. She instantly started to question me. Mum, what colour shirt? Me, blue. Mum, what colour hair did you say? Me, blonde, oh my god. Me being confused, my mum pulled up a picture of my uncle's school picture. He was wearing the exact same outfit and looked exactly like the man I saw previously. I had never seen a picture of my uncle, but I instantly knew it was him. As I have got older, I have had less and less experiences. I still think about him a lot. But the past few years, I've only seen my uncle when things are going bad, if I'm stressed or upset, or physically hurt. I see him as if he is there to check up on me. If everything is normal, I'm okay. I don't see him. I've always felt him with me and have always felt the connection between me and him as if he is my guardian angel or protector. There's one last thing I would like to add, but it tends to freak people out. I don't see my grandma often because she lives out of the state. But one time I went down to see her, I wanted to know more about my uncle. As soon as I asked her, she instantly said, "You've seen him, haven't you?" I was drawn back by the statement, but said yes I have. She continued to tell me that when I was little, she too could see my uncle. She would walk into my room and see him sitting next to me like he was really there. We talked for hours about our experiences and more about my uncle. She then told me that she thought I was old enough to know the truth. She began to explain that my uncle, the night he died, had found out his girlfriend at the time was pregnant. Shocked by it, he went out with some friends to try and get his mind off it. My grandma then proceeded to tell me I was the child. My uncle is actually my dad. His brother, who I thought was my dad, decided to take care of me with my mum. My uncle wasn't just looking after me, but he raised me just from the other side. Oh my god. Oh, that last bit really got me. That was really nice, thank you. That was such a cute story. I loved that story. Thank you so much. That was really, really cool. We love a good emotional make me cry story on this channel, don't we? So this one is called Ghost in the Asylum with Pictures. I'm just going to cut this crease really quickly because I won't be able to do that when I'm reading. So let's do that really quick. Cut to me with a cut crease. Okay, so back. I kind of done like an up and down so I look a little bit sad. Cut crease. Okay, so Ghost in the Asylum with Pictures. This is our next story. Oh, right. So it says, "Hi, Robert. Hi." It says, "I'm loving this series." Thank you. Me too. I'm excited to share one of the few ghost stories I have of my own. It's a long story. That's okay, I like long stories. My sister, aunt, and I do a mini weekend vacation somewhere in our province. Hi from Canada. Hey. Last summer, we went to Kingston, Ontario, a beautiful city full of fabulous scenery, historic buildings, and lots of ghosts. Sounds perfect. We were all interested in the paranormal and decided to do a ghost tour one night. It was a guided tour, so we learned a lot of things about the history of the city. For the most of the tour, I didn't see anything unusual until we visited the abandoned asylum. This asylum has an upsetting history and is currently completely closed down. There is security there to ensure that no one enters the building as they are trying to preserve this historical site. When we arrived, my phone immediately started doing weird glitches, but I didn't think much of it. I took a lot of photos of the buildings. I will attach one Our tour guide told us that many people experience sick feelings when they walk on a small field that's part of a property. This field is said to be an unmarked mass grave of the past patients at the asylum. So of course I was excited to go there. As I stated before, I had just been taking a bunch of pictures of a building. However, when I tried to take pictures in this field, my camera completely stopped working. My sister took a video of me trying to take pictures. Attached is that video and you can see I'm continuously pressing the camera button with nothing happening. As we were leaving, I went to scroll through my photos and see if I had found anything. However, a message popped up on my photo app saying no photos in the gallery. I know I had at least 500 photos on my phone, but they all seemed to have disappeared. I restarted my phone to find them all back on my gallery as normal. Then, as we were heading back to town, I was looking through my photos and zooming in to see if there was anything. To my surprise, one of the pictures I took has a shape that looks a lot like an angry face peering out the window. Again, no one can enter that building. Even creepier, I took a picture of the window twice. And the second time, there was no face. I showed the tour guide the photo and he insisted I send it to him as paranormal evidence. Thank you for reading. Keep up the amazing work. What creepy pictures. Horrible. Thank you so much for your story and those pictures. Those pictures are incredible. How terrifying. That's like one of the scariest things I think you can see. It's like a face in a window, or a face in your window, or something that's not meant to be there in your window. That neon green's hurting my eyes, not the product, the colour. Okay, our next story is called The Man Who Sat on My Wardrobe. Oh, that sounds horrible already. Says, when I was around 2 or 3 years old, my mum and dad had just moved out of my nana's into an old terrace house. Around this time, my mum started to suffer really bad with postnatal depression, right after we had moved in, so it wasn't a very nice period of time. As I was only young, I don't remember much, but surprisingly, I do actually remember a lot of this. They described the house as old and unsettling straight away. You would always feel like you were being watched. My parents started to notice things moving around the house, hearing people when they weren't there, and just an unpleasant feeling. One day, my grandma was tiling our bathroom and she had seen my dad walk past, so she asked if he was home early. No one was there. Another time, he was decorating my bedroom and he felt someone glaring down at him from the top of my wardrobe. They thought nothing of it until I started to cry every night when I would go to bed. My mum said I never cried as a baby. I was a quiet child, but she said I would never sleep in that room. Even I remember going to the baby gate every time I was put in there and screaming to get out. I kept telling them there was a man on top of my wardrobe. I still remember. He sat on the corner. He looked old and crooked. Nightmare material. Because I wouldn't stop crying about it, my mum got a psychic round to see if I was telling the truth or whatever. He told my mum that there was a man in the house and his bedroom was mine. He didn't like what we had done, painted it in Disney princesses, and he wanted us out. My mum and dad were terrified, and as my family are Catholic, they got a priest round and blessed the house. They described the night as calm but eerie. No wind, warm but something off. Apparently the priest went straight up to my room and started throwing holy water everywhere, all over my mum's brand new TV, and then started with the prayers. As soon as he finished the prayer, these heavy curtains flew all the way up the ceiling. It's a terrace house, so the ceilings were high, and flew back down. There was no wind, so there was no way it could happen naturally. Every window was shut. We also have a door where you could lock it from the inside, and every single one of them locked by itself. It's safe to say we moved out straight away. I always found I'm more sensitive to the paranormal, and I always wonder if it's something to do with this house. Imagine being in bed and just some guy sitting on a corner of your wardrobe just looking down at you. Okay, I'm going to stick on some lashes. All right, everyone, so that is today's ghost look. We've got a sad eye cut crease, makes my eyes look a little bit rounder, neon green in the waterline, which I wasn't so fond on, but now I'm like, I'm okay with it. It was a really good week for stories. Thank you. That was really great. Like I said, I'm making my way through all your stories. Some catch my eye a little bit more when I have pictures attached, because I have to look at the picture as soon as I see the email. Without reading the story. So yeah, keep sending them over to this email address here. Send me your ghost stories, just weird stories, strange experiences. I will be back here on my channel Wednesday and Sunday. Again, have an amazing week ahead, whatever you are doing, whether you're at home or whether you're having to work. Look after yourself, look after everyone else, not just family, strangers, everyone. And I will see you very soon. Bye.